human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Cover's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Cover's Voice, Cover's Voice, CoversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia from She Say Sports. Make sure to check us out every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on Black College Sports Network, YouTube, and Linktree. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Levert Experience and the Bar Cave. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Shop from over 80 vendors. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app. And enjoy family-friendly STEM activities. Plus, don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends, honoring talents such as Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, and Luther Vandross. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted.
Thank you, ONG Strike Zone and Rattler Nation, for voting me Women's Athlete of the Year. I am honored to be named among such elite and accomplished athletes here at the best HBCU in the nation. It means so much to me that Rattler Nation thinks so highly of me, and the highest of Seven Hills will always be home. Thank you to my teammates in Rattler Nation. Go Rattlers!
What up? What up? What up?
DV Zilla, what's up, man?
What's happening with you?
Me
and my man Mo here. I'm expecting Theo later, but today is the 5th of February 2025. Man, can you believe it is February all effing ready? I mean, we talking damn. And you know, before I get into my monologue, I'm gonna just say it got here early since y'all boy is getting rid of DEI, and I hear they getting rid of all these pro something months. You know, no more Black history, no more Latin history, no more this, no more that. So I'm saying I think they were trying to hurry up and get it out of the way in his first 100 days. Man, it's crazy out there, but you know, I'm doing good. I see my man Mo here. He got the smile on, so he doing good. So we're gonna stir up some things. We're gonna have a little quick conversation about this. As again, you know, we're going to try to do several segments because I want to educate, motivate, and I still want to make you smile and make you come back. But like I said, it's February the 5th. I just got back from California about 3 days ago. So I'm still doing my thing. But I'm here as long as I can. I'm on call this week, so I may have to leave y'all if somebody decide they want to die on my shift on my show. You know, how disrespectful. They can wait. They can wait till 8 o'clock if they
Just hold out, baby.
Oh,
Just hold
they
out.
can wait. Yeah, I'm like, come on now, come on.
Hit them with the paddles a couple times, you know.
But it is what it is. Shit. So, what's going on with you, brother?
Hey, it's all good, man. You know, it's interesting that you was, you're talking about, we're gonna be talking. I ain't gonna get into it right now, but we're gonna talk about the immigrants and that situation. And man, it's interesting how you put your trust in somebody and they just pull the carpet right from under you. So that let that be a lesson, because that's a global lesson. That's a lesson in all kind of relationships, domestic relationships, professional relationships, whatever. You really got to assess the people you're dealing with. Don't take them for face value. Don't play that hope game. Well, I hope they do the right thing. There's so many, and I'm not picking on nobody, but so many of our women out here, they do that with men. Well, maybe he come around, this and that. I'm gonna help him do this and that. But no, that hope game is not good, man. Stay away from it.
And we might as well go and jump this off. I wanted to get Theo here because he brought it up before, and as I've been having casual conversations with people, who are woke or politically astute or whatever they claim to be, and I don't know if you were on the show with me, Mo, but Theo had said something about the prevailing reasons why a lot of us did what we did, even though the numbers say that a lot of us voted for him. The numbers still say a lot of us didn't. And what the numbers say more than anything else is that a lot of us didn't vote. The numbers are way down from when it started. So I want to deal with those who chose not to vote because they just didn't feel like voting. And don't get me wrong now. I'm going to stick by what I say. For the black people, for the people of color, our people fought and died for this. If you choose to disrespect their struggle and not vote,
oh man,
let your conscience be your guide. Yeah. But he had said something, and it pertains, and I ain't trying to jump on black men, but it pertains to black men especially. And more, I want you to chime in on this. From birth, all the way growing up, it's two things that we hear a lot. Even those of us that were raised by our mothers. And one is that men are supposed to run shit. We hear that all the while growing up. That we always got to step up. We're supposed to do this. And ain't nothing wrong with it, unless it's taken out of context. And the other thing that we hear, no matter how we become as adults, is that a gay lifestyle is unacceptable. So ingrained in us, whether we overcome it or not, is misogyny and homophobia. Because all while we're growing up, if you do something and you're a little soft, somebody hit at you about it. Man, you do that like a girl. You assist, you this, you that. So it's kind of ingrained in us. So I think, based on casual conversation and watching people's reaction, that as a group, as a group with power, and power is in numbers. Don't let nobody fool you. Numbers and money control power. But as a group with the numbers, as a whole, we chose not to. As a whole, we, people of color, chose not to vote for a black woman because we've been taught that black women are not supposed to lead. Even though most of us grew up in a black-led, that a black woman, a woman in particular, is not supposed to lead. Even though a lot of us came from women-led households, but even some of the women who raised us taught us that we were supposed to be leaders, not them. And whether that's good or bad, it's still what we heard, the bulk of us. And then again, we heard the part about the homophobia. It wasn't called that then, but anytime we didn't do something right, there was a slur made about us either doing it like a girl, being soft, or something else. So in the back of our minds, those are the things that we fear most. And you know who promoted those fears better than anybody else? The guy that won. And the misogyny and the homophobia that he shot out, I think a lot of people subconsciously bit that apple. Because when we listen to the things, and don't get it twisted now, the Democrats ran a shitty program. They did. They didn't. If you ask me, they truly didn't want to win. But we're looking in hindsight. But what do you think about that? Do you think that a lot of us have been taught that we shouldn't be listening to women and that we really don't care about gay rights?
So I'm doing this for what I'm about to say is for really the audience, not it, and I'll say I don't want to insult nobody, but yeah, I'm doing this just for the audience. But what I'll say, because I know a lot of boys who grew up to men have probably had similar experiences because we got a lot of dysfunction in our culture. And I'm going to tell you, so just to answer DVP's question, every turn I made as a youth was misogynistic. You know, everybody just kept telling me, you got to be the toughest this, you got to be the best this, you got to do that. If you're not the, you can't beat everybody up, you're nothing. If you don't have the best hair, you're nothing. If you can't get the most girls, you're nothing. So, when you grow up in that kind of environment, it shapes you. It makes you, especially if you're in your teen years where you're still forming opinions and ideas and thoughts, and you're not mature enough to understand that what they're telling you is garbage. So you internalize that, and your whole way that you move, the whole way that you think is totally different than what it would be if you had a upstanding male or female giving you guidance as you grow. So yeah, it's the same thing. I went through the same thing, man. I was 14. I was in a conversation. I'm gonna just tell this story to get, so just to validate what I'm saying. But I was 14, and you know how the guys get around and they talking and everything like that. Well, I had my uncle. My uncle was there, a cousin was there, and I was there, and we just chatting it up. Then all of a sudden they got on this, you know how men do. They started saying, when the last time you had something, right? They did that around the circle, right? Got to me, I'm 14. You know what I said? What I say, DVP?
Shit, I got some other night.
That's right. Yeah, last week. I said, yeah.
I'm getting mine.
Last week, man. And listen, I'm like I said, I was fresh out the box, man. I wasn't doing none of that, but I know if I would have said I haven't done that yet, my whole day is over. Maybe the week was over. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking. We gotta get away from all of that, destroying young boys and girls. If that's part of the conversation.
Yeah, we don't realize the damage that we do. And like I said, when Theo said it, it made me stop and think, because I'm all about always protecting women, not just my woman, but any woman. I believe that is a grown-ass man who accepts the role as protector. That's his role. I ain't gonna say it's for every grown man, because we're all different. Every grown man is not a protector. Every grown man is not a provider. That's why we have different categories, because nobody fits into one category. But if you want to accept that role, and we do, but like I say, in the back of our mind, what's subconsciously there? What is subconsciously there? I can remember vividly running for student government. It was never about who was a better candidate. It was about men versus women. And a man should be this, and a man should be that, and the men. Wow. And you ain't supposed to lose to a girl. No matter if she's smarter or whatever, you're not supposed to lose to a girl. Those of us who actually face some pretty good girl athletes in school, if you ain't I'm a pretty decent basketball player, but I got some friends of mine who want to be basketball players, but they suck at it. They couldn't hold up to some of the girls. So they're a little bit more aggressive with them because they're not as good at athletes. And what are we supposed to be? We're all supposed to be good athletes. Another myth. All men cannot play sports. It just can't happen. One of my sons, I love him to death. He can dance his ass off. But if you put a ball in his world, how can you be so coordinated on the dance floor, but you can't catch a ball? And he wanted to play football because I played. And I was like, this ain't for you. We playing catch and you keep breaking fingers. This ain't for you. We ain't even involve nobody else. And this is what we got to accept. But, we told we got to do this. We got to, and somewhere that does become ingrained in our mentality. And sometimes it can be to our detriment, because if you're not the best or one of the best of what they're promoting as top masculinity, you already feel lesser than. Exactly. And let's just say, and me and Mo old, so let's just say back then, and it wasn't cool to be good at cooking. What? You cooking? Like we don't eat. But if you were taking home ec, the only reason any boy should be taking home ec was because he was on the sports team and he needed an easy A. But if you were taking home ec, which was sewing or cooking, and you were excelling, everybody looking at you kind of funny. Because if you were a guy and you sold, I don't know how it was when he worked, but you were gay. If you cooked, you were gay. Oh, it's just the standards. Whether you were or were not, that was just a standard, because that's a girl thing. And like I said, I think subconsciously it still rides with some of us. Those of us who haven't done good for ourselves. Those of us who have not risen above that project mentality that we grew up with. Because a lot of people, and again, I'm gonna pick on Mo. A lot of people. I had a friend tell me that I was successful. And I ain't doing bad. I'm not finishing a lot of you. He said, but everybody didn't have the same chances you had. And I said, what chance did I have? I joined the military. Back in the 80s, the military was taking any and everybody. All you had to do was have a post. The test was to tell you what branch you was going into, but all branches was taking anybody. So what special thing that I had other than I wanted to move out? I wanted to get up out the ghetto.
Same here.
So when people keep saying, oh, we couldn't do this, everybody's mom wasn't like yours. Well, shit, most of my friends' mom was just like mine. We were poor. Are there different degrees of poor? Let's just say we didn't want to be accountable. And, one of the things that we're going to get into, I don't know if we're going to get into it this show, but yeah, we might as well, we're here now, is about, in 1 minute we royalty, the next minute we victims. As we talk about the political climate, for those of y'all who are dumb enough, because this is the only way I can say this. For those of y'all who are dumb enough to believe that your rent was gonna go down, I'm gonna be 60 this year. Mo gonna be 40 something.
56. 50. Well, I'm 56, 57.
In your lifetime, has rent ever gone down?
Man, what are you talking about?
Ever?
What you talking about? You listen. This stuff is tracked, people. This is track. You could pull up a graph right now and it'll show you how rents have changed year to year. It's easy. I look at them all the time. I just like looking at that stuff. But no, not 1 year has it gone down. Not
ever. Insurance. I've been in the workforce for a long time. If you got company insurance, it is tied to minimum wage. Every time minimum wage go up, all our insurance goes up. Everybody. Guess what? It never does. It never goes down. So when people say, oh, I ain't making enough money, I need a raise. Understand what you're saying when you need a raise. You want everything else to go up. Everything that's pretty much standardized to go up. Because that's what happens. It like clockwork. Every time I got a raise, I got a $15 raise. My insurance went up $7. My rent went up $7, $10, $15. And at some point, you got to accept that you're shitty with money. Because more money does not fix the problem if you're bad with money. The only thing that's going to fix the problem is you becoming financially astute. You don't want to do that, though, because that requires work and it don't allow you to play victim. See, Mo got a class. Let me rephrase. Mo has a group. And I ain't even gonna put this all on Mo. There are plenty of groups out there. If you don't like me, if you don't like Mo, there are plenty of groups that will explain shit to you about money. They got shows on TV. But in reality, they ain't fun. And they're making you be responsible. But we don't want to be responsible because it's easier for me to blame, man, I could have been rich, but damn, the Mo, he wouldn't let me in his group. Well, Mo ain't got to own the group. I promise you he ain't. So if he don't like me, I can go to another group. I can go to another resource. So every time I hear people making these lame excuses,
Yeah, and Mo ain't petty like that, man. You know, I don't have to like you, man. Come learn. Come, you know, I don't have to like you.
But that's what we do. I can sit here and do this all day long. Hell, I do it more. Damn, I'm the screen going. I do it more than Mo.
Yeah.
I can't make y'all buy the book. And when we keep coming up with excuses for stuff, it aggravates me because, man, the president did this. And I ask people, if we're being honest, tell me how the president affected your income. Tell me how the president affected your friends in prison. Your friends ain't in federal jail, so he didn't affect the crime bill didn't affect them. Them saying when Trump said he want to start back executing federal prisoners, that didn't affect most of y'all. It didn't. Now, the DEI shit, yeah, it's gonna affect a lot of y'all. But y'all bit into the apple because we blamed it. We blamed it on wanting lower rents. We blamed it on wanting lower gas prices. We blamed on a lot of things. But if you watch a neutral channel, everybody will tell you that we were ascending. We were ascending. The dollar was going, but we were avoiding a recession. We were avoiding a depression. But y'all didn't want to hear that. Was it that you didn't want to hear that, or you just truly didn't want to vote for a black woman? Yeah, she didn't say a lot of good shit. And I'm lock, stock, and barrel with you on that. She didn't say a lot of good shit. But she also didn't say she was going to try to bring us back to the 1920s. I seen the craziest shit. Blacks for Trump, niggas for Trump, Latinos for Trump. And guess who he is deporting? And it's the funny shit to me. Because I'm a proud American. And I say that first. Everybody like, oh, why you one of them. You scared to claim your heritage. No, I'm an American. I don't care how y'all feel about it. Y'all want to be this, y'all want to be Hebrews. And hey, you claim whatever you want to claim. But I know I was born in Grady, which is in Atlanta, which is in Georgia, which is in the South, which is in the United States. According to everything I was taught in school, I'm an American. I just happen to be black. But black is not a class. Black is something that we gravitated toward. Because if you travel the world, you won't hear that nowhere else. You ever heard of black French people? You ever heard, even in South Africa, you know, y'all love to talk about Africa. Elon Musk is from Africa. What do you think he is? Is he a white South African or a black? They don't even use those terms. That's a racial term that Americans did to divide and conquer us. Go ahead.
Let me just add this to you. And this is from Dr. John Henrique, and he was saying that he said this, which really made a lot of sense to me. He said that different cultures are defined by geography. So black is nowhere on the map that says black, right? There's nowhere on the map that says white. So, you know, people who are French are from where? France. It's on the map, right? People who are Chinese are from China. It's on the map, right? So you can go through the whole gamut, but this little fictitious stuff they put together, that's to cause all this flux that we've been dealing with over time. If you black, chances are very high chance you're from Africa. And I'm gonna just leave it like that. That's where you're from. I'm not saying that's what you gotta claim, but that's
where your ancestors are from.
That's right. That's right.
So where they're from, claim, yeah, say you part of this, but where you're from ain't there. It ain't. And when they start this deportation of all these people who have been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, and y'all keep claiming y'all something else, don't be surprised if some of y'all end up getting accidentally deported, because his initial claim that he was only going to do it to the worst of the worst criminals. And if you believe that, and seeing is believing, why do they feel the need to go to schools? Why do they feel the need to go to hospitals? Trust me, I was a cop. Criminals don't go to hospitals, and they don't go to elementary schools.
No.
So they already telling y'all what he gonna do. He gonna do it. And I hate to put this on there, but he gonna do it like Malcolm said, by any means necessary. And I looked it up. In his first 4 years, only 2 presidents in the history of the world, well, in the modern era, have failed to name a black federal court judge. Nixon and Trump. So out of all these judges they appoint, Trump ain't never found a black one that he could do. Never. And if you look at him now, how many black people has he appointed anything? And we saw the bootlickers. Tim Scott Levin, it's the greatest thing ever, was calling him dad at the event. The guy from the second coming of Martin Luther King up in wherever he was. All these blacks checking their driving. What have any of them gotten? They ain't got names, no positions, no nothing. And you wonder, we fuss about crazy shit. I ain't a Biden fan, but his cabinet did look like America. Trump cabinet looked like the 1920s. It looked like the cast of Friends, because I'm trying to figure out why Friends ain't never had no black people coming. I ain't never been able to get into the show just because I can't understand a show that don't have black people. Now, one, so you stay in an all little white community all the time, and I get it's just a show. But shows become reality.
Now let me just add to what you're saying there, because I don't put a lot of stake in. I put some stake. Let me clarify this. I gotta be real clear with this. I put some stake in the culture and color. Put some stake in it, but but only after I know what that person or that group's purpose is. Because like you just was talking about it, right? We got a lot of, you want to call them Uncle Toms, you want to call them sellouts or whatever. We got a lot of those out there. They got black skin. So the skin ain't enough. It's mindset too. So I make sure even if you black, there's bad black people, they're good black people. You ain't gotta like them all.
Go figure.
Yeah, right. But then if because I know a lot of, I don't know got the names off the top of my head, but I know a lot of people who get out here, and I just use this name because everybody probably know who this is, but an Uncle Ruckus, a lot of them. All right. And they got black skin. And guess what? I don't mess with them. That's it. You know what I mean? So like I said, you got to have the mindset and that color, because I love my black people. But if you ain't coming with the right mindset, I ain't messing with you. I ain't dealing with you.
Right. And it's like y'all don't want to have a conversation. And it's funny to me because, and this is one of my pet peeves. I ain't voting for nobody black unless they talk reparations. So y'all are just as diehard as the Trumpians are, because he can say a lot of things. And this is what I'm noticing. He can do a lot of things. And he knows some of them going to get rejected. But you know what his followers going to say? He tried. He tried. They stopped him. We don't have black people who will even try to get us stuff. But to not vote for somebody because they're realistic and they don't want to waste their energy on stuff, but you want them to tell you a lie. Because if I'm not mistaken, Biden tried to get rid of these student loans, and he got rid of quite a few, but he kept getting stopped. See, he couldn't just sign it in. You got to it's supposed to be a working system. And this is where we have to become more politically astute to understand that everything is supposed to be a check and balance system. This is why I don't like when people say what Obama didn't do. Obama was the only Democrat. The House and the Senate were Republican. So it wasn't much he could get done. He could stop a lot of things, but understand executive orders are truly just a sheet of paper. You can stop stuff, but you can't start nothing with executive order because it still got to go through a process. And we have to go through a process mentally of knowing who we are and having the tough conversations and accepting truths that are not how we thought. When Mo gives you the example, when I was talking about my ex-wife was a better shot than me, if something happened, I'm gonna let her shoot, because the traditional male mindset says I got to be the one who does this.
Everybody did.
I got to address this and come up with reality. Do I want to survive, or do I want to be macho?
Yeah. For
me, survival is a basic issue. So I'm gonna let her take the shot. I'm gonna let her. She can see better than me. She shoot better than me. It ain't a threat to my manhood. And these are the things that we become so incensed by that to me make no sense because we're offended by this and by that. Why?
Well, hold on.
Go ahead.
Sorry, DVP. Listen.
You good?
No, we talked about exactly what you're getting on right now. We talked about why we're so sensitive and it bothers us so much. We talked about already, and that's that emasculation we get as teens or young people from our older folks who are dysfunctional, right? They tell you, when the last time you had some, put some dirt on it, it'll be fine. Drink some hot sauce, all that. They tell us all that stupid stuff to do, right? And so that's the answer to your question. That's where we get a lot of that stuff from. And that's why we end up that way, being like, okay, now, because that's a continuation of that conversation. We continue that out through our lives unless we get some enlightenment somewhere, so that's why a program like this is good, because the young boys, young teens, they can get that enlightenment right now instead of waiting to have to go through the trials and tribulations we went through to get it, so go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna co-sign.
Yeah. So, and so that's part of the continuation is that, you got to break that cycle somewhere in order to start thinking differently, because I know I ain't got to even ask DVP, but I'm gonna ask him anyway. But DVP, was you the same way when you was 22 as you were today?
Not even at 40, hell, not even at 52.
Facts. Yeah. So that's the thing that, that is the curve we have to reduce, right? The stuff that we know, that me and DVP know at this age, because we've been through the process, we've been through the issues, we had the problems, we went through the good times, the bad times, all that stuff. That information we really need to, we need to get that out, pass it on before somebody gets impacted. After they get impacted, now it's just it's life support, right?
Right.
Look, man, you got 1 foot in the prison. I'm gonna try to pump your chest a few times. That don't work. It's over, man.
And we gotta start accepting the fact that learning, I ain't gonna say it's an everyday process, but it should be a continuous process. Learn something all the time. All the time. Hell, even if what you learn is something that you thought you knew that was false, that's still learning. If you learn something that you thought was true was false, you're still learning. You may not still know the answer, but you know now that what you learned was false. So now the mind is like an umbrella. It only works when it's open. That's one of the simplest, greatest quotes I ever heard. It only works when it's open. We gotta open up and accept that it wasn't our parents' fault. Most of them did the best they could with what they had. For us to be ignorant, now is truly a choice. They were ignorant they didn't have the resources. They were doing what they thought was right for most of them. Some of them messed up. Some of them wasn't shit to start with. I don't want to talk bad about your parents, but some of our parents just wasn't shit. But most of them meant well. They just didn't know better. I'm watching and I saw a post and it said something about one of the black senators breaking up the black family. And for those of y'all who know how I feel, that the only thing that breaks up the black family is black people. See, welfare. And I'm gonna go through this real quick. Welfare did not break up black families. See, welfare was for women. I want y'all to hear me out on this before y'all keep repeating these lies and agitating the living shit out of me. If Mo got his place and his woman comes to live with him, she don't get welfare. See, how it messed up the black home in y'all silly ass minds is Mo girlfriend had a place and Mo was a bum and Mo went to stay with her. For her to keep her benefits because Mo ain't bringing shit to the table, she had to stay on welfare. See, that ain't breaking up the black home. She was sustaining. But if Mo was a grown ass man and brought his woman to his castle, there was no need for her to get on welfare. So welfare didn't break up the black family. Shitty ass dudes did. Because if you talk to your grandparents who've been married 30, 40, 120 years, ask grandma what happened. Did she go stay with him or did he come stay with her? So how did they get these 30, 40-year marriages in if welfare was breaking up families? Just say we had a whole generation of shitty dudes who kept going to live with somebody.
And no, so hold on. Let me counter that a little bit, just a little bit. Let me counter it just a little bit, because there's one point that I know, and I agree with you. There's, you know, our mentality has been bastardized and tainted and twisted by our history, right? That's a fact. But here's the thing: that situation you were just talking about. The other thing that needs to be pointed out is that those women don't get the benefits if they had a man in the house. You don't get the benefits. It's called the man in the house rule. Look it up. If you had a man in the house, you don't get the benefits. So guess what? The dude gotta go. He know it. It's like, I gotta go so my woman can get these benefits and feed our kids and sustain.
Because they wanted you to step up. See, he said the right word, man in the house, not dick in the house, a man in the house. Right. Because again, for most men, they would bring them to her. Ain't no woman, and I've dated lots, ain't no woman never left me to get on welfare. Never. See how that works? So quit saying what the government doing. And if you talk to somebody, go talk to somebody who really went on welfare and understand why most of the women, most of these grown-ass women refuse to get on welfare. They pay you 30 cents on the dollar. They restrict what you can do. A lot of women don't want welfare. They just don't. It's too restricted. And then the next part is, you know, oh, these women want to be equal. Read what it says. Stop quoting ignorance. They wanted equal pay for equal work. They ain't never said they wanted equal in the household. Never ever. Look, find it. They never said this. And go ahead.
I just wanted to jump in, man, because I didn't want to make this comment because I'm gonna forget if I don't. Remember where you at. Your memory better than mine.
I got you.
But if you're looking for equality, try pushing out a baby, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
And this is again where we are so destructive in our own way, because you know I had to tell them, yes, oh shit, women who have babies and don't know who the father is, destroying our families. Dudes who get women pregnant and then deny paternity, destroying our neighborhood. That ain't the government now time. That's us making conscious efforts. I ain't got no problem with you having a hot girl summer. Ladies, be the hoe that you want to be. Use protection. Fellas, be the hoe you want to be. Use protection. But quit saying it ain't your baby, because some of these babies are yours. Ladies, this is what is destroying us, because we can't tell you this. You know, I talked to a girl and she was telling me about her boyfriend. And it's crazy. I was asking, you know, she got the little glow. She all in love. You know, she talking about how good a dude he is. And she said, I'm thinking about having his baby. And I said, where you live? She was like, I still stay with my mom. I said, where he stay? He still stay with his mom. So you ain't got nobody in your life telling you that this is wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be grown and considered grown and responsible for all the other good shit that you love to yell, ladies, don't have a baby by a man who does not have a place for you to stay. That is y'all's, not his mama's, not his grandmama's, not his aunties. Fellas, if you don't have your own shit, stop getting women pregnant. And you know, I'm gonna do a show on this, but in my world, in my mind, based on what I know out of life, we shouldn't even be allowed to have babies until we're over the age of 30 and are financially stable. We've had babies early, but most of the grown ass men that I've talked to have freely admitted that they weren't mentally prepared to be a father. They grew into it, and there was a lot of strife. And some of them, it took 10, 15 years before they could be at peace with the mother, because they weren't prepared for that life. They were still in their, at 24, 25, they were still in their teenage mindset of having fun all the time. They weren't ready to be responsible. Most of us don't have careers in our 20s. We have jobs. Some of your jobs got benefits, some don't. This is something that we have to discuss more, because me and Mo ain't stupid. We're not going to get y'all to stop having sex. It just ain't going to happen. That's a dumbass conversation to even bring that up. They just need to wait till they get married. Well, that don't prove shit either. But we need to wait, because most grown-ass men need stability before they feel themselves, before they get that confidence. You know, that little youthful confidence about the six-pack and you can keep it up all day, that's not real. When we feel like we can be supportive and we can run shit, We have a sense of financial stability because we know that we can do what we think we're supposed to. And this is based on how you see yourself as a man. If you see yourself as a protector and a provider, these are the things that most of the men I've talked to have said they needed to do. They need to have that present before they felt like they could truly be a leader. Other than that, we sitting there wolfing, I'm the man, respect me. Well, when you got your shit together, you ain't got to do all that. Actions determine that. Actions determine that. They'll determine how much she will follow you, how much she will let you lead her down the path, because you have shown her that you are a good decision maker. You are a good planner. You ain't got to beat them into submission. You ain't got to beat them into letting you lead. They want you to. But when we having babies in our 20s, she's still the leader because we want her to do everything. We want her to take care of the baby while we go out and live our best life. Most of us are not mentally prepared for it. I don't think we're doing it out of malice, but nobody has sat down and talked to most of the boys of the world and told them, hey, when you go out in the world, you're gonna do this. You're gonna want to have fun. I used to tell my son all the time, listen, you're young, you good looking. Don't come back talking about you want to get married before you get 30. Because if you do, I'm gonna lock your ass in the closet and let you fucking starve. He's like, well, Dad, what if I love her? I said, 20, you won't know shit about love. Only thing you're gonna know about is hard-ons and having great sex. He said, yeah, that's what you're going to do. You're a good-looking boy. It's going to be a lot of girls wanting to give you some. Every time somebody give you something new, you're going to think you're in love. Enjoy life. But strap up. I don't care how long you've been doing shit. And knock on wood, he waited till he was 29. He brought one to me. He was like, Dad, what you think? I said, how old are you? And he looked at me. He said, I'm going to be 30 soon. I said, well, come back to me when soon hit. Come back to me when soon hit. And, and of course, and 30 was just an approximate because sometimes they mature earlier depending on who their models are. But we don't give this. We don't, the women aren't telling the girls, hey, I know you like this little boy and y'all want a future together, yada, yada, yada. But y'all can't, you staying with me, he's staying with his mama. Y'all ain't prepared to be grown up shit. Mm-hmm. Y'all ain't prepared. Y'all ain't never even tried the life to see. See? And this is why me personally, this ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. I don't believe in getting married with somebody you ain't lived with. Now, I heard a lot of people, and I heard what people say, oh, some people you just got to jump and do it. And more power to them. Again, one of the reasons I like Mo is Mo got his own mind. We can do the same thing in totally different ways, and guess what? It works for both of us. Having a tool belt is about having different tools. Listen to people who've done it one way, listen to people who've done another way, listen to people who've done a third way, and then decide which way is the best for you. Because I know people who just jumped in and they've been married 20 years. Hey, Mo Powell, I need to feel a little, I need to know what you like when the shit hit the fan. See, when everything good and we going through literacy, everything is gravy. But that's gonna wear off in 4 to 6 months.
So let me chime in on that because I agree, but there's some caveats because that number you said, I agree 100%. 30, that's a good number because when time you reach 30, your life experience should be such that you're at a point where you are mature enough to handle a marriage because marriage ain't no walk in the park. I'm gonna tell you right now, you get a, I'm speaking from the man's perspective, you get you a pretty good smelling woman, but y'all don't always gel. You know what I'm saying? There's problems. And so if you still young minded, you're not gonna be able to handle that. So you gotta, so I like that. I like that that 30 age. And then the other part is, getting, shacking up too early. You might as well just be saying, listen, I'm putting the handcuffs on. I'm not going to do anything else to try to make my life better because now I got to pay for rent. Now I got a woman to take care of. Now I gotta pay for the car. I gotta commute, gotta get to work. I'm still trying to stay in school because I'm doing that, and so now the burden is 8 times more what it would have been. You know what I'm saying? If you follow this, I call it a life path, right? I put one together just so I could see what it looks like because I know I didn't have one.
Right.
My shit was all over the place. I'm probably sure DVPs was the same way. We kind of just was on autopilot figuring it out. You know what I mean? But it don't have to be that way, and it's amazing what DVP said to his son, he probably won't realize how much what a big favor his dad did for him until later sometime. But man, that's the kind of stuff we got to do For real.
And you know, we can't keep leaning on hope. And I ain't knocking y'all again, but you can't keep leaning on hope in God. You know, praying, for those of y'all that pray, keep praying. But prayer is not the answer to a ton of shit. Action is the answer to most things that we got to do. Learning how to be better people, learning how to educate each other so that we know. See, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that for right now.
You're about to get ugly. I saw flames come off the top of your head, man.
I had to catch myself. Because I want to hold some.
I saw it, man. I saw it. So look, let me ask this question, man. I got something I want to throw out there. I wanted to ask you. I'm gonna ask you some questions. I want you to play like, you know, be the person to have to answer these questions. All right. So this is what we're gonna do.
All right. Let me see. I ain't even got my drink with me.
Oh, get your drink, man. You want to go get your drink?
No, go ahead, do your thing.
All right. Look, so this is about along the lines of what we've been talking about. And this is cultivation for males. All right, cultivation for males. So here's the first question. It's not even a question, it might just be a comment. All right, I'm growing up, I'm in the hood, I'm poor. My parents are struggling because, you know what I'm saying, they didn't get they only got 8th grade educations, so they don't have time to you know, culture me and you know, help me grow and figure out things I need to figure out. The house is kind of you know, it's a harsh environment because, you know, people don't talk. You know what I mean? I don't even feel comfortable going to talk to my mom or my dad about anything. So the question is, how in those situations, I'm going to throw them all three out there, but I got them here, so don't worry if you forget. In those situations, how do you get guidance in poverty when you have minimal resources?
And the first and the hardest step.
Whatever you say.
The first and hardest step is being true to yourself. Once you know that you don't have access to something, you got to decide how much work you're willing to put in to get this access. If you're not willing to, nothing comes without work. I mean, don't get me wrong. People can get lucky and then luck will fail. But if you ain't put in the work, as I say, knowledge is power. Once I learn a skill, once I learn something, that's mine. Right. If I keep letting people tell me something, I still don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just doing this because Mo said I'm just doing this. But you know, you gotta go out. You gotta see with your own eyes. You gotta see better. And then once you see better and you want better, you find a way to try to figure. Walk up the street. Hey man, how you doing? My name's so and so. I just saw you doing this. Can you tell me how you do? Or are you hiring? Are you doing the internship? Any of that. We're so caught up in our ego and arrogance that we ain't, oh man, that shit look easy. Well, you know, everybody be like, yo, you know what we need to do, man? Everybody need their own business. For what? Everybody ain't a good boss. Everybody ain't good with time management or money management. But if we keep pushing out the narrative that this is what everybody need, then all we're doing is creating a bunch of failures. Some of us are great workers, and that's all we'll ever be. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. Without great workers, castles don't get built. Dynasties don't get built. Wars don't get fought without great workers. Everybody can't sit there and be thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna lead this. Somebody got to work. Somebody got to follow. You got to know where you are, and you have to fail. Failure teaches you your limitations. Oh, I can do anything I put my mind to. Yeah, whatever. Mo can sit here all day long and put his mind to getting pregnant. This shit is not gonna happen. So we gotta quit talking in so much hyperbole that some shit don't make sense, but we keep making people think if they can't do something, they'll fail you. You are not gonna get a tree to become a frog. That does not make the tree a failure. Let the tree be the greatest tree it can be. And that's what we gotta learn to accept. Wherever I am, whoever I want to be, that's what I need to work on. I was a cop. Mo ain't never want to be a cop, so why should that be his goal in life? Everybody should want to be a cop. No. Let Mo figure out what Mo want to do. Then Mo got to work at being the best something that he thought he wanted to do. Now, if he decided that's what he want to do, he got to accept that. But he still need to be good at it because he still got to earn a living. And so we can't sit back in the 21st century and blame our parents, blame our environment, because you can see it. With these damn phones, now the internet is free for everybody. What's the real holdup other than I'm afraid of failure? And we got to let that fear of failure go, because who ain't never failed? Which to me is crazy, because we learned failure early with relationships. We had girlfriends in the 2nd and 3rd grade, and we moved on from them. So we learned that we couldn't do this. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was you was just about to say, I was headed there, because a lot of people don't understand that failure is a tool that helps you eliminate options. Because if I'm trying to go somewhere and I go down, let's say street A, and there's some dogs there and I get beat up or whatever, guess what? Well, I ain't going that way next time. I'm going down street B. You know what I mean? So when you fail or when something bad happens, it helps you think about other options. So the failure is not always bad. Sometimes it's a good thing.
And it really is. But it's how we learn.
Facts.
But we got to accept that. And that's what we don't, because we got these images that we have to uphold, that we have to maintain. It's like, oh man, I know you. Shit, you ain't never failed. Man, boy, stop! I can tell you, I done failed at a ton of shit. This knowledge comes from failure. I mean, damn! If you look at the greatest, Michael Jordan didn't even make a basketball team. Now he didn't start. He got cut from the team.
Cut.
And he realized, you know what? He actually wasn't good enough. And this is one of the things where we can talk about God-given talent. He didn't have the God-given talent. He had to work to get there. But we don't see this because we want to believe everything that comes natural. Leaders are born, not made. Bullshit. You become a leader because you've been through the fire and you know how shit should go.
And so let me add this to what you're saying, because you brought up, so one thing that I think a lot of people underestimate is how important practice is. So one thing you need to know is that there's actually statistics on how much you got to practice or do something before you are determined to be an expert at that. There's actually statistics on it. And one thing I can tell you is, a lot of people, including myself, at one time we was watching the Lakers play, right? And when we watched the Lakers play, we saw Kobe, and everybody said, Kobe's stingy. He don't get the ball up, this or that, right?
Right.
Well, that right there had it was predicated on the fact that in practice, some people didn't show up to practice. Some people didn't go 100% in practice. So after Kobe saw that, because Kobe would always be at practice, he'd get there early, like an hour early. He would run like it's a real game. None of this, no practice session. It's a real game when he get on the court. And a lot of the guys didn't like him. But that practice right there made him the guy he is. Made him the guy he was. So there's you gotta hone your craft. You gotta practice. You gotta hone your craft, and that's for anything. You can't. Sometimes some people have special talents though. You just get born with it. You're just good. You're born with it. You're good. Well, if you got that, congratulations. But most of us don't. And the ones that don't think you just ain't good at something. I don't want to hear that. Oh, I'm just not good at that. But you could be good at it. You could be good at it.
But and Kobe is a great example, because I had to use it with somebody who was a Kobe fan. If you like Kobe, you know the history, because I like to know the history shit. Kobe didn't become the Kobe that we know and celebrate until after the rape trial. The Black Mamba was invented after his incident in Denver. There was no Black Mamba before that. He was a pretty good player before that. But once he had to concentrate for the distractions, and he practiced more, and he did this and he did that, he became the Black Mamba. So through stress and strife and failure, he became one of the greatest players ever. But see, people don't want to look at, oh, no, he was always the Black Mamba. No, he was not the Black Mamba. He was just a teenage boy who came into the game. It's in the documentary. Kobe said it. He created an alter ego to escape reality. He became somebody different. He became driven. See, he wasn't driven before because he had God-given talent, and he was just going to let that get him by. After that, he became the assassin. He became that dude that nobody wanted, because that's what he had to do, because he failed at something in life. He felt like he let his wife down. He felt like he let his family down. So he went to improve himself and make him a better basketball player. While he was getting good with his wife and stuff, he became a better person. But it took a tragedy to get him there. We don't want to accept this. And we get so caught up into not ever doing anything because everybody else was like, oh, his wife must not be giving him none. Oh, if she was doing this, oh, he would. One, there's nothing you can do to stop a man from. You can't stop nobody from cheating if that's what they want to do. And let's be honest. I'm just, sometimes shit happens that nobody planned. And I done heard, oh, you can't just accidentally end up sleeping with somebody. And, you know, I wanted to believe that. But guess what? If I'm being totally honest, I've actually ended up sleeping with somebody I had no plans. I don't even know how we got from point A to point Z. I have no clue. I didn't see it nowhere. And the next time that I was.
It was Jack's fault.
I'm going to say shit. You know, sometimes the stars and the moon align just right. The chemistry is just right. And shit happens. Sometimes it's a game of chicken. You know, she talking all that shit. I ain't scared. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna match her blow for blow while she talking shit. Oh, you scared? Ain't nobody scared of. Oh, you scared? Oh, I bet you ain't gonna do this. And next thing you know, you're there. And it's funny because I've heard men and women both say they've had challenge sex, or somebody say, "Oh, you scared of this, ain't you?" And they end up giving somebody. So it wasn't a plan when they left. So yeah, people can't actually do it because everybody playing a game of chicken, and then when the morning comes, ain't nobody backing down. And this is something that we typically do in our 20s. As you get older, you be like, hey, whatever. But as me and Mo start off the show talking about, Mo, when you were in your 20s, when you were a teenager, you hanging out with the boys, it's sure to come up you. Let's just say she ain't got to be beautiful, but she just kind of cute or she kind of fine. And shit like she want to give you some. You can have a girlfriend, you cannot like her, but in front of your boys, you gotta uphold your manhood.
Yeah, it's
when
tough.
When Shawty look at you and say, "Come with me, young fella, I want to give you a little something," you be like, "Nah, I'm good. I got a girlfriend."
I got a
like,
lady.
What? What?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a peer pressure of sorts.
Yeah, it is.
And what can we do about it?
Yeah, we gotta train the people coming up behind us, because that
right. But how much is it worth to say no to her and then have to be ridiculed for the rest of your life? And be like, man, you remember that time we was going to play basketball and Shawty was trying to give him on something, and all of a sudden he ain't like he a monk? You ain't gonna never live that down.
Yeah, no, that's over, man. Hey, that's a tough one to get out of, man.
Yeah, and I wish I knew how to show this video. I'm gonna figure it out one day. He told me, but I had a video I wanted to show, and it's a woman talking about the biggest mistake mom makes in parenting is that they can't turn their boys into men, and yada yada yada, and I hate this defeatist attitude, and I hate when women promote it, because I know too many good men who are raised by a single mom, and if I'm being real with you, and I'm a logical dude. You know who's the best person to raise a boy to be a man with the skills that we want them to have? A woman. See, I can have a son and I can explain certain things to him. I really can. But Mo said something earlier. He probably didn't realize he led me to this subject. Practice makes perfect. My son can't practice opening the door for me. My son can't practice being a gentleman with me. I can tell him all the things he's supposed to do, but everything I'm telling him, guess who else can tell him? His mom, his auntie, his grandmama. And guess what he can do now? He can practice with them. He can practice. He can open the door. He can practice pulling out the chair. He can't do that with me. So where he gonna get the real world practice? Because we've all heard lessons, but most of us are hands-on type of people. We got to practice it to do it. So Mo got a son, and we're gonna make Mo a single parent right now. If it's just him and his son, where's the son getting the practice in? Mo can't go everywhere with him and say, hey, go open the door for that lady. Go pull a chair. When he's on his own, who is he practicing with? When we would go to the grocery store, my mom would get the eggs and the bread, because you can't trust boys with eggs and bread. We got 7 bags of groceries. Guess who got to get them bags up there? She got the bread and the eggs. She gone. She ain't say shit. So now she done introduced me to problem solving. She done introduced me to critical thinking, because I got to figure this out. I got to figure all this out. So she's improving. Dads don't do that. Cause we don't. We the good dads, we still want to teach you lessons and we're going to give you some stuff, but it's much easier in my world coming from a woman, because at the end of the day, and I definitely want your feedback on this, Mo, we're humans. I get so tired of the male, female. We're humans. We got the same basic genetic makeup. We got 23, the chromosomes from each parent. We're humans. We are the exact same creature with the exception of we have an appendage. So when something happens, it's humans that do this. You can either be a good human or not. You can't be a good man and be a shitty human. You can't be a good woman and be a shitty human. But if you're a good human, then by nature of whatever you are, then Mo is a good man if he's a good human. His wife is a good woman if she's a good human. So we can't keep separating these and acting like we're so different. So there ain't much now you can't do on YouTube. I got a friend who has his daughter. He braiding her hair. He doing it. You know how he learned to braid her hair? He watch YouTube videos. So, my thing is, what skill do we possess that the women didn't have? Well, a man can teach a man how to deal with stress and strife. No, he can't, because me and Mo can sit here and have conversation after conversation, and I've done this with people. We got different stressors. We got different reactions. To me, Mo seemed like a really calm dude. He seemed like a really calm dude. Somebody that, if me and Mo was hanging out and somebody did something to agitate me, Mo gonna touch me on my shoulder and try to talk me down. I was having a conversation with one of my supervisors, and he was telling me, man, you a good dude. You ain't gonna do this. And I said, listen, I appreciate your image of me, but it's so far off fucking base. I put him on speaker, and I said, say it again. And he said it, and Trina started laughing. She's like, yeah, you don't know him. You don't know him. DDP can be petty as fuck. When I'm agitated, there's no more. You don't get this calm. I'm about, see my shirt. I will put you in the trunk and help people look for you. That's how I am. That's me.
Nice.
I'm that guy that if Mo make me mad.
Don't use me, man. You
don't want to.
Use Roy. Use Roy.
Okay, if Roy make me mad. See, my level of petty, when Roy get on the bridge and I want to set the bridge on fire, I'm on the bridge too because I want to make sure Roy go down. I ain't going to do it over there. I want to be there because I got to make sure. So, when people say this thing, Mo can tell his son about his experiences, but guess what? Emotions are not male or female; they are human. So the same thing he can talk about with handling stress in difficult situations, it don't differentiate because he's a man or a woman. His experience was different, but being harassed as a man ain't no different than being harassed as a woman. The only real difference is, as men, as males, we are taught to fight. Women are taught not to fight. See, so when we say, why so many men in jail? Well, from an early age, we've been taught to fight through shit. We don't get taught to try to talk it out, to go see this. We're taught to be strong. We're taught, hey, if Mo say something to you, punch him in the mouth. Oh, he disrespected you, punch him in the mouth. Every time somebody disrespected, what the first thing we're supposed to do? We're supposed to hit them. Then as we learn, walk away. But I guarantee you, ain't too many old school daddies or mothers telling their son to walk away from disrespect. But they tell their daughters to go tell somebody. But then what they tell the son, oh, somebody disrespect you, you punch him in the mouth. They ain't gonna do that shit again. But that ain't what they tell their daughters. See, this came from, but we the same creature. We got the same emotions. Mo cry. I guarantee he cried. He may not cry at the drop of a hat, but I know guys who cry during movies. You know it's a damn movie, so what you getting so emotional about? It's a movie, but they still got the emotions. When you laugh at shit, that's emotions. So we're not taught how to deal with problems properly.
And I'll add to that and say, in the whole spectrum of being cultivated, I'm gonna just deal with the boys right now. As a boy, trying to come into manhood, in the whole spectrum of being cultivated, we get taught a lot of times we don't get the right message. Like DVP says some of it, about how to control yourself when it comes to fighting, right? You don't have to resort to fighting all the time. There's ways to manage that. You got to be able to manage that. If you can't manage that, there's a lot of ways you might end up Some might be good, some might be bad, but you know, you want to try to find a way to manage that. You know, dealing with girls, you know, I had no damn leadership, no guidance with that. I was on the job training, man. I had to figure that out. It was the worst thing in the world, one of the worst things in the world, because I made a lot of mistakes, and you know, I had to go through stuff that I feel I didn't necessarily have to go through. You know, if somebody would have taught me, thinking logically, you know, we make some dumb. You a boy. You make some stupid ass decisions. I just got to put it like that. DVP, boys make dumb ass decisions.
But that's what we're taught to do. We're taught to make dumb decisions, because if you do anything else, you're soft, which goes back into the homophobia. Exactly. Because we're not taught to be logical. Hell, in truth, we're not even taught to be tactical.
No, not at all. No, you just going with you going like a bull, right? Red-eyed like a bull, and
right,
think you're gonna fuck something up until
There again, then we blame the system for our incarceration. But it was our parents and our village that taught us we're supposed to have this. Man, if somebody says something about your mom in school, what you supposed to do?
Oh, you gotta pop off. You gotta pop off.
Girls ain't taught that though. Girls got mamas. Why if somebody doing with your mama joke to them, they're not taught to start swinging, but we are. So it makes sense that we're incarcerated at a greater rate, because we're taught to be so reactive to crazy shit as opposed to just walking away and being smart. Oh, look who just showed up! It's our resident fugitive in training. I ain't gonna tell you I want to buy. You know what? Elon probably looking for him. He's probably on that computer system. But I ain't gonna say nothing.
Hey, Theo, we don't got enough time, but call me later, man. I'll tell you what DVP said about you.
Okay, fair enough. Good looking out.
Because I'm sure that, you know, on the next round of cuts, when they're going through DI, they're gonna ask me why I ain't got no white boys on the show. So, you know, I don't know how much longer we got, but hey, we're gonna have fun with it.
Start doing interviews, man.
But and I'm glad you came, Theo, because we've been talking about you anyway, about some of the things that you brought up. And Theo is the youngest of us. But Theo, when you were in school, grade school, if somebody made your mama joke, what were you supposed to do?
Either fight or say your mama back.
But and you think girls get told the same thing? Because I don't ever see girls fight over your mama jokes. But we're all taught to fight.
Yeah, the last fight I got into was over your mama joke.
So right, but so it would make sense that we're incarcerated more, because as Theo talked about earlier, some of these things have been subconsciously ingrained into our system, and we don't know no better. Which is why I'm gonna stick to the fact that sometimes, more often than not, we need a woman, especially an up-to-date woman, to teach us how to deal with our emotions. Because most men at the time, Theo may be a little different because he's younger than us, but the men we grew up with didn't teach us to have logical or tactical responses. They taught us to have physical responses anytime we met with grief. And this is old school, because this was from our mamas too. Oh, it don't matter if he's bigger than you. You take an ass to him, but you let him know you ain't scared.
Yeah,
what the fuck does that mean?
That's ridiculous. No, I don't want to do that. No,
but
right.
They don't teach the girls that. They don't teach the girls that. So why is it they teaching the boys that? And it goes back into the misogyny and the other things that we're taught, because us backing down is a sign of us being gay. So
right.
We're homophobic without knowing that we're homophobic, because we don't want to be gay. So we gotta do this to prove that we're not gay. Like you know, straight dudes get their ass kicked all the time. So do I really? This don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it don't translate. It don't translate, right?
This leads into a lot of it, and it pushes again to my theory that sometimes I think I'm gonna let you guys tell it. I think to deal with our emotions, we need to be raised by a woman who is in touch to tell us, you know. I think I told Theo, listen to the song "Go On and Cry" by Bloodstone. When the mom is talking to him, I know you hurt. I know you're this. Go on and cry. Don't tear shit up. Don't go to jail. Don't go threatening her. Don't go busting her windows out. Just go on and cry and get it out your system. But again, Theo, if we cry, what does that mean?
You're girl gay. It's like it's girl then gay.
Right. So we can't win in our own villages because our villages was telling us you can't cry, you can't do this. You and Theo don't get along. Y'all can't even negotiate. Y'all fighting the best man win, and that's who you're gonna go with. Now I got the lifelong enemy. I got to keep watching my back because that's what we're taught. And when women say they can't raise a boy, I'm not saying that a boy don't need a responsible man in his life, but don't just sit back and say you can't do it because that's a defeatist attitude and you give it into the system that tells you you're less than. And there are too many grown-ass men responsible who are raised by a responsible woman and they become great people, ergo great men. And I hate when we try to act like they can't do this because Theo got a daughter. He can tell her some of the expectations. He can tell her some of the things she's gonna go through and how men judge women. And like my other friend, he can watch a video and learn how to plait her hair. As much as uncomfortable as it was to me, because I was a punk, I didn't know how to talk to my daughter about having a period. But that's because I didn't have a knowledge. We didn't have YouTube. Right. So I don't want to have that conversation.
Right.
Please, Lord, don't start believing I'm here by myself. Oh, hell no. I remember, and this is crazy, but the first time when my wife went out of town and my daughter needed to be bathed, I'm just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And she was like, Daddy, you got to watch me here. No. And she 3, 4. So, they don't, you got to touch him up. But I'm like, what did Mommy tell you to do? She's like, Mommy just said, give me the rag. And she finished, shit. I don't know nothing about washing.
No, yeah, right. I don't have one of those. I don't know what to do.
But it's something that's needed. But because, again, as Theo said, I'm going to keep giving the credit. I came from a homophobic and misogynistic background, unintentional. This ain't something that men right. do. But these are my kids. Why am I not showing them this? Because I was never taught this. And now I got to accept the fact that I'm ignorant and I can either choose to do better or I can stay in that rabbit hole and say, hey, I ain't never did this. And that's where we fall short. And we need both sexes to actively participate. It ain't got to be mom and dad, but there needs to be positive. There needs to be positivity coming from the male and the female side so that, again, we have balance. Because my mother taught me how to be a gentleman. She made me practice. She won't get out the car without me opening the door. She gave me critical thinking. She gave me, I forgot what other one said, but problem solving skills. Because she just let me do shit. And she expected for me when I couldn't figure something out to come and ask for help, which is growing up. That's a sign of weakness because we don't ask for help. We'd rather let all the groceries keep falling out. I keep picking up this bag with cans in it that's too heavy. The cans keep falling out, so now I got to keep doing that shit. If you don't ask her, she won't tell you. So you learn problem solving. And I just hate when women say it. I hate even more when guys say, "Oh man, she can't teach my son how to be a man." Well, what can you teach him? Can you really teach him how to deal with his emotions? My emotions are different from Mo's or different from Theo's. We can all talk to my son and give him 3 different ways of doing something because we don't know what his emotional scale is like. Theo, should I say Theo? Theo, I don't think Theo ain't as petty as me, but that's he young. He still got time to grow into his pettiness. I got practicing this shit, but we got different skills. I got one friend who will talk you into boredom. He ain't gonna fight. I don't give a shit what you do. He's not gonna fight. He will negotiate his ass off. I wish I had that skill. I'm gonna negotiate one time. If you don't like it, then from there on, we finna do it. So who is best to teach my son how to negotiate life? He's better.
I would venture to say. Well, go ahead, Mo.
Oh, okay. I'll be quick, man. I'm gonna forget too. So you got them good brain cell memories. So
you're young. That's what you're saying. You're young.
I'll say this is what I think. I think that there's some overlap in the cultivation of children. I just say children, teens, whatever you want to call it. There's some overlap in between what the man has to show the teen and what the woman has to show the teen. There's some overlap, but then there's also some uniqueness. So that's why you need both parents. It's not in totality. You can't you say, oh, you just need a father. No, you can't do that. they need both parents because there's some uniqueness and there's some overlap. And if you give that child that you're giving them the best chance of success if they listen to you.
Right. I agree. I think this is where that leaning on the outcomes becomes important for how to decide the best trajectory, the best direction rather for us to go. Because I do agree that in isolated incidents, there are several isolated incidents where, boys who are raised by their mothers or by in a matriarchal kind of community still fair. They've become great men, and there's, and they thrive in life. But when we zoom out from that, right, and we look at all of the things that make people productive, citizens, we look at, high school dropout rates, we look at teen pregnancy, we look at drug use, we look at abuse, we look at the propensity to underachieve in school. All the factors point to the father being the and I know this is not popular, the centerpiece. All the factors point to, ideally, yes, both parents, but the default to that should be the father being the centerpiece. Now, the father being the centerpiece does not mean that the father is providing all of the things, right? And I can very well use myself as an example. So my oldest daughter is with me full time. There's a direction that I have had her. I've been grooming her to go into since she got here, right? And we are as we progress deeper and deeper into this journey, she is thriving. She's doing well. There are kind of I'll give you a real life example, and I hope she's not listening. So my daughter, so I had to get I had to have a conference with her school about her attendance. Now my daughter's a straight A student. I'm not the parent that's like, you got to get straight A's and perfect attendance. Like if you're doing well in school, I really kind of low key don't care. But attendance is important. So there was, speaking of your experience with having daughters when they're entering to their womanhood, right? She experiences very, very strong pain, around that time. And so the majority of the absences are due to me saying, I'm not sending you to school like this. Now, mom, or even my mom, like her mom or my mom, or, anybody else would be like, you being a softie, right? I err on the side of being a softie than being the insensitive dad who did not validate her experience, right? So I wrote an email to the school and said, this is what's happened. This is the majority of these absences of this. They fixed it, and that was fine. Now, me and mom in the same home, we probably don't have 7 absences, right? Because mom is going to have a very real world kind of lived experience that can speak to that sort of thing, right? Yeah. But what I wouldn't trade is that she's getting nurtured in that way, but the structure that I provide, the bare bones, the discipline and just the direction that I provide, I wouldn't trade that. And I think that what we have seen in this experiment, this 60-year experiment of Black fathers, but fathers really, I did a study in school 20 years ago about how fatherlessness is a worldwide phenomenon. And so, they say if America has a cold, Black people have pneumonia. So I'm going to speak to this specific issue of fatherlessness in our community. It's a worldwide phenomenon. So I think what we've seen in this 60-year project, where the father has been deprioritized in the family dynamic, and the government has taken the place of the father, and so now we have the father and the government and the mom working against the father. is all of the things that we see that's wrong with society, or it can be traced back to all the things that are wrong with society. So while I do believe that, am I still here?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay. While I do believe that that a mother is there to teach emotional intelligence, I also think we are experiencing a reset. And what I mean by that is, so we've had 25, 30 years of the Black athlete who says, mama, you the real MVP. And, just you would think that the daddy doesn't, that the child was made asexually. We've had 25, 30, 35 years of like that's very archetypal, Black athlete who's showering all this praise to his mom. Dad wasn't there. Dad was doing this thing, whatever. I think one of the unintended outcomes of women progression is that there is no other model in place but a patriarchal model. And what I mean by that is, as women become more empowered, and they should be, as they become more educated, obviously they should be, more autonomous, obviously they should be, the model that they have attached to is still a very patriarchal model. And so I believe that the next 20, 30 years is not going to be daddy wasn't there. Because what I heard coming up made fathers in my generation more emotionally intelligent, more emotionally available. We broadened the definition of what it meant to be a man and a father. In other words, we can't just peel off a couple of dollars and let mom handle it. We are going to the parent teachers conferences. We are, going to the doctor's appointments. We are doing more than just showing up at the football games and or just kind of being here and there, but not emotionally engaged or engaged in their emotional, spiritual, psychological development, right? So a lot of us, even if we had a father in the home, we were socialized into being more holistic, like having a more holistic view of what manhood and masculinity was. So we are showing up as more engaged fathers. But the flip side of that is, now my mom's a boss chick. Now my mom she's present, right? Because the structure has essentially remained the same. But mom is on the same pursuit as not dad, but a dad from another era was. In other words, that dad who flew in and out of town because he was away on business, but he might have had other things going on while he was out of town, or maybe he just was out of town. Just he's a good guy, just taking care of his family. There was no such thing as remote work. He was out of town, and he was a stranger in his own home because he was always gone. Right? I think we're going to see a flip in that, where dads are maybe not getting the quote unquote glory, but we're getting the acknowledgement, the acknowledgement that counters the narrative that we got as young boys and the experiences that some of us got as young boys. And so I'm interested in accelerating that reset. And what I mean by that is there has been and I was literally thinking about this earlier, about 20 minutes ago, like I don't have any proof of it, but I really believe that red pill, blue pill space is a PSYOP project. And it has done a number on Black female and male relationship dynamics. And it has caused a divide. And we are now living our lives on islands. And yet we are still doing things that are still, very traditional. So we're still having kids, right? We're still, in relationships, but these messages are so confused, and we're having all of these different definitions and that don't really apply to the Black, experience and condition, that the outcome of it is, yes, now your mom is far more educated than your grandmother and your mother was. Now your dad is far more engaged than your dad and your grandmother, your dad and your grandfather, ever were. But they can't figure it out. they haven't figured out how to make their dynamic really work. And so so now we are experiencing another kind of young person that's not, they are probably more progressive and they're more open-minded, I would say, to a lot of things. But some of the traditions that we have that keep us in line, that keep us moving forward, have been they've been shaken. They're chaotic, and we need to restore some form of tradition as we continue to make space for those alternative, lifestyles and even points of view. But we need to have some through line of, okay, this is like the traditional nuclear family is critically important for our existence, and a father, not just a father figure. I mean, those are your kids that you made, and him having unobstructed access inside and in the relationship, and should the relationship end post relationship. That father patriarchal figure presence needs to be ominous almost, because the outcomes suggest that when a father is not, when his voice, when a child forgets the voice of their father, and they're only hearing, especially as a young boy, they're only hearing what a woman would do, how a woman would do things, that boy has no choice but to become a man who has not managed his emotions. And I think that my generation has been socialized in such a way where we are far more equipped than our fathers and our grandfathers, and certainly our great-grandfathers, to handle, to teach emotional intelligence, not taking that from women, but not to the extent where we say she can handle all of it now. She can handle the direction, the discipline, and the emotional, nurturance.
And I'm gonna start paying attention, but I'm gonna disagree with you on a couple of things. Okay. I think your generation, and this is specific to you, Theo, has far more resources, but they're far more insecure. I think your circle might be, because, and it's crazy. And when you were talking about, I was like, and even with Trina and a couple of relationships before her, they were younger than me. So the father was in your age bracket, and as opposed to, let me give a backstory. My oldest son, he lived with his mother. We had a great relationship after we accepted a couple of things, and she was dating a guy, and I was over there one day, and I met the guy, shook his hand, and my son, my children are well mannered, so I don't feel the need to say, don't put your hands on my child. My child ain't finna do nothing to get. But as a general conversation, what I believe, listen. First of all, I got a good son, but if my son is ever disrespectful to you, don't call me. He's disrespecting you. I need for you to fix that. You need to learn how to talk to him. But whatever it is going on, because I've had a guy call me and say, well, that's you. But when I'm looking at the opposite side, I had a guy, he ain't finna raise my children. Well, one, you're absentee dad, but I'm trying to, my first daughter by marriage, when she got her own room, I had her put a picture of her father. Listen, I'm your bonus dad. He is your father. As long as he ain't doing nothing dumb, I don't ever want you to forget him. Right. No, this nigga ain't finna raise my. See, where's this combat coming from? I'm trying to incorporate you into the life. With my son, me and his dad, when I go to Alabama, we hang out. We laugh and joke that I tell his wife, I say, listen now, when we out, everybody gonna be saying his dad was doing something. Now realize they talking about me and that's your husband. So now these girls don't get mad at the husband. But and he was my age, but we could go out and hang out. There was no beef. But with the younger dudes, there was always a threat where they felt the need to bucket. And I'm like, I don't get it. If I'm taking care of your child, what is your beef with me?
Because of the messaging, it's likely from the messaging that you got about him from her, or what he perceives to be if he thinks that she's poisoning or poison your perspective of him, he's coming in with a level of defense.
But why not have a conversation? I mean, we almost came to blows because I said, listen, when the kids stay with y'all, we don't run shit. But when they stay here, when they stay at our house, you don't
Y'all
run
don't.
shit.
That
So
part.
listen, I got a 10 o'clock curfew at my house. Period. So you want to call at 10:30? This shit is not gonna fly over here. Now, when they come to stay with you, you can do whatever you want to. You ain't even got to make them go to bed. That's on you and how you run your house. I can't run your house.
Right.
And I was getting ready to take them to somewhere on a trip. And one of the fathers came up to me and say, well, you ain't gonna do this, this, and this. You can't tell my son nothing. You ain't his daddy. I said, okay, cool. I'm not gonna argue with you. Then we got ready to go. His son called him. He's like, what you mean you ain't going? He called. He said, why you ain't taking my son? I said, you said I don't have nothing to say to your son. I said, I'll be damned if I'm gonna pay for somebody and I got to go through another grown ass person. I'm a grown ass man. So you can pay for him to go, and he free to go with us. But when I'm the head and I'm this, I don't know what you heard. I don't know what because yeah, I heard this. I heard the stories, but I also realized what you and her did, that didn't work for y'all. She ain't never kept you from the children. I don't keep you from them. I don't have them calling me daddy. And it's like, why are we black men so quick to want to go back to our nature and fight before we negotiate? Because if I'm taking care of your child and she ain't got nothing bad to say about me, because that's all I want to do is talk to the child. Hey, how is so-and-so treating you? Once he say good, the conversation over and we moving on to something else. I don't even know what's going on with him and your mom.
Right.
You know, the one dude I talked to, and I was telling my wife earlier, I said, my son called me, something was going on with his mom. So I just called her, she crying and what's happening? She telling me what's going on. So yeah, I had to talk. Listen, when you upset her, that means my son don't get the best treatment. So I don't know what's going on with y'all. She a little feisty, she talk a lot of shit. So if you can't deal with that or learn to walk away, you might need to go. Because anytime my son is being neglected because you did some shit, we're going to have a problem. I said, now you can figure it out on your own. But why is it that, and it's always happening with younger people? Why, and I'm using y'all in a general sense, with the education you got, it seems like a lot of them are mentally immature.
Oh, absolutely, and that's actually across the board. That's
yeah, right. But I'm saying I notice it more with them because, and it's like, because I've dealt with some dads who like, yo, I did a post about and your daughter, your daughter. Your daughter lives with you and your fiance. She wants to call your fiance mom. Her mother has an issue with that, and I'm like, why? Because kids are really particular about who they give titles to.
That's true.
They're really particular. So if she wants to call your fiance mom and she loves this woman and this woman loves, why is that such a beef? Because in theory, most of us, especially me and Mo age, hell, we had 2 or 3 mamas and grandmamas and hell, people who just took care of us and they just got the title. Whether it was auntie, whatever it was they was doing, we felt the need to show them that look. And I don't ever remember my mama telling me, don't call nobody mama. I don't ever remember her saying it. And it's like, why do we dismiss kids?
I think that's where the distinction of like man and woman actually comes in. I think the same way it's more, women are more open to dating men with multiple children than men have ever been open to dating women with multiple children, especially when we talk about for multiple situations, right? There's a way we are socialized to be territorial and to safeguard, right? And I'm not saying it makes sense. It makes sense all the time, but I use my own upbringing as an example of that. My biological father was not there to raise me day to day, right? And so and on top of that, my dad raised, like, he gave me his last. He adopted me. He legally adopted me. So and so when I got older, I started to have, and I did not know my biological father coming up, but we weren't seeing each other a lot until I got older. And started out seeing each other and then long gap and then we resumed it. But either way, when it became apparent that my biological father and I were cultivating our father-son relationship, it was a thing about not to call him dad, my biological father dad, or just the or not making making sure that I'm honoring the person who has raised me, who's been dad to me, Right.
Right.
And so so the first thing I used to always feel was resentment toward everybody, because I didn't think it was fair to put that kind of expectation on me, because all I really want was a relationship with my dad. And I absolutely adore the man who gave me his name. I adore him. That's my guy. There's nothing nobody could ever compete with that. And my biological father never even tried to do that. So I harbored resentment toward everybody for even putting the kid in that scenario. Then I resolved that all my kids were going to match. So I would mitigate this going forward, because everybody was going to match, and I wasn't going to put my kids in the position where they had to manage that, right? Didn't do that. That did not turn out the way that I, engineered it in my mind, at least. And so I in my earlier like years as a dad, and realizing that I wanted to provide a model of that nuclear kind of family and dynamic for my oldest daughter. When I got with who eventually became my son's mom, we did the blending thing, and our daughters, it was literally like a mutual, they were like negotiating it, where it was like, can I call your dad? Your dad? She said, sure, if I can call your mom. And we let them work that out. We never, pushed it. So they ended up calling us that. Now for me, being the kid, like being able to identify with the experience of my bonus daughter, I never, when she would go to her dad's, when she came back to the house, how was it being with your dad? Like, right. I made it very like, we're gonna talk about your dad. We're not gonna make your dad like an enemy or anything like that, because that you didn't ask for that. What I also do, speeding forward, because that didn't work out, in my kids' rooms, there are pictures of me and their moms. So in my daughter's room, there's pictures of me and her mom. There's pictures. You would think if you looked in the room that her mom actually lived here, because I believe in honoring that space. Even my son's mom, right? As tumultuous as things have been, there are still pictures of me and his mom up in his room. I don't make a thing about, no matter what happened, I try not to create a scenario where they're hiding half of who they are, right? But having been the dad, the bonus dad, with my ex-bonus daughter now, and having and realizing that I was a pawn, and that as much as I had a genuine, authentic connection with her daughter, that was all a part of an erasure scheme to erase her biological father out of the picture, to slight him for whatever it is she felt he did and things he actually did do. And then when it came time for us to enter into a for real co-parenting situation, I got the exact same treatment as he. Now he's dead now, but I literally get the exact same treatment. And so I think that it's a natural like reaction for a man to be territorial over where his kids rest their head. But I also think, to your point, that it's important to have upfront conversations, like very upfront conversations with any of the dads. If you date one with a child, and there's I literally prayed for this. I said, Lord, whoever you bring into my life, and please, I want them to actually be a mom. I want their children to have a dad like me, because a dad like me is going to be so present that child will not be tempted to call me daddy. I will be there to support, to nurture, all those things, but he's so cemented in their life as their actual daddy. And and the lines are so clear that even as we form our own bond, it's very clear and obvious that that's your dad. And I have that now. I have my respect for my fiance's daughter's father is through the roof, because it's almost like it's I don't have to worry about filling in. Now, remember, she's older, you know what I mean? She's a young adult now, but I don't have to even be tempted to fill in. And a lot of times, you know, single moms, rightfully so, are looking to fill in some of the blanks that are missing when the biological father is not present. But the toxic side of that is when he actually doesn't need to fill in some of these holes. Like the father is actually there. He actually is present and accounted for. He actually is providing. He actually can be reached, and he actually is attempting to form and to maintain a relationship, and you're being blocked out of that. And so we need to start being more confrontational about that kind of reality, and because I think it has an unintentional gaslighting effect on men who are experiencing that. Because one thing we absolutely know is that the numbers show a high percentage of Black marriages start out blended. Where like it's good to start out, with the idea of, Cliff and Claire getting together and having, 5 kids from each other. And all, that's beautiful. That is ideal. I want that for my kids. But the reality is that because we are waiting longer to get married, life is still happening, and life is literally still being made. And so we need to have a plan. We need to have a plan that deals with the blended family dynamic, and that makes it unsafe for and unpopular for parental alienation to be be played out in these dynamics. Like don't use the father or the mother, because it can happen, in either way, in either direction. Don't use the biological father or the biological mother as a means to exact some kind of, revenge or whatever against, I'm sorry, don't use the new person, the person that you're doing life with, as a means or a pawn to exact some kind of revenge against the biological father and the mother. If we start out like on some, I've had those conversations when my oldest daughter was like 2 years old and her mom had moved on. I had a conversation. I said, listen, man, welcome to the family. I just want you to know, like, her daddy is present and accounted for. I expect you to love and to treat her well. But she got a daddy. It just, but what happens with y'all when she's with you, that's fine. But I'm good if you're good. I don't want to be super awkward. None of those things. I've only spoken to two of the two fathers, or two. Let me rephrase it this way. My kids' mothers have only moved on one time, so I've only had that conversation with one new guy. But even with my fiance's daughter's father, I make a very deliberate point to not be on no territorial. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, we gonna always be good as long as we good. You know what I mean? Like, you got it. Like, I'm not.
But what does she want to call you dad?
I can't imagine a scenario where she would. She's 18. You know what I mean? So we're not. I'm coming at the last leg of the race now. But I did. But again, the earlier situation with my son's other sister, she was calling me dad, and I was totally okay with that. What I was not okay with was her mom wanting me to adopt her. I said, I'm never going to take. Her dad is alive, and he has a son that he's very engaged with. They're around the same age. He has a son he's very engaged with. So whatever's going on between y'all, it's not just because he's quote unquote absent. But I will never. I'm not going to interfere with any of that. And on top of that, if we get married and get a divorce, you ain't gonna have me on child support for a child I didn't make. We ain't doing that.
That's why you do it when they're 17,
right? Exactly. But the abiding sort of principle in that was, I'm never going to undermine or undercut her biological father's presence, no matter who he is to her and how we perceive him. And I even attempted to have a conversation with his mama and him. I was like, listen, because they were under the impression that because of what she was saying about our dynamic, that I was along with it. I said, listen, I ain't trying to take his place. I got kids. I am not trying to take that man's place. In fact, I reached out to him and we had our own little plan to bring him more in, into the mix. Right. And that was actually working out quite well until it was interfered with by the mom. And then it was like, y'all can't see, neither one of y'all can see her. So I'm saying we have to deal with things like that when we talk about how to chart a better way forward for the Black family. And
that's one of the things that we as men probably need to have more town hall meetings with dads and bonus dads so they can bridge that gap, because absolutely. And I want to agree with you, but and because I'm being picky with words now, it's more important to have a positive male and female role model than it is to have the mother father. Because I know of kids who had both parents. They were not positive role models. They found them somewhere else. That's what leads to productivity. And I don't want to put undue pressure, because everybody got something going on. Some mothers are overwhelmed, some fathers are overwhelmed. So to put the added pressure of them of being responsible when they're not there yet, I'm really actually okay with that. But if they don't have them, I was watching the show the other night and I thought about you. And it said that it's crazy. Kids do better when they're in schools that have male teachers.
Yes.
I thought about this shit. And it went to the thing of a male role model, because they get to hear that voice. They get a different look. And as me and Mo were talking about earlier, again, all men are not created equal. All men are not meant to be protectors, providers, yada yada yada. So once we get away from that stereotype and accept men where they are, we meet them where they are. There are certain men who are natural leaders. There are certain men who possess other characteristics, even though they might not be the prototypical leader. Me and Mo was talking. We was in school. If we took sewing or cooking, man, you better not be in there participating in shit, because Whereas now, we're encouraging men to do this, but but we got to overcome that mentality. Because I was trying to explain to somebody, hey, I don't care what my son call nobody, as long as you treat him well. If he wants to honor you and call you his dad, my first marriage, the kids, they start off calling me dad, and I'm sitting there watching TV one day, and they came in there looking all sad and serious, and I'm like, what's up? He's like, well, we just got a question, and we just need you to be quiet and listen. And I'm like, well, what just happened? He's like, we know you told us to call you Darren, and we know who our dad is, but we don't want to call you Darren no more. And I'm thinking, what y'all gonna call me, MF? I'm thinking they're gonna overthrow the government. I mean, man, they came in there looking like the Gestapo on me.
Right.
It's like, well, we voted and we want to call you dad. And I was like, that's it. It's like, yep, we just want you to know it's finna start happening. You won't get to say nothing about it. And I'm thinking, ain't y'all some little shits? I'm still the biggest. I will fight y'all. But it was
that's beautiful, man.
And it's crazy because my wife at the time, she said, what did they want? Because they didn't even talk to her. I'm like, they voted they was gonna call me dad, and I can't say shit. I said, I don't like being strong on. I don't like that at all. I said, so I hope you ain't finna start calling me daddy, because I'm gonna draw the line somewhere. But
go ahead.
And I tell you, as a Black man, one of the most things that I'm most proud of in my simple life is the kids whose life I've entered who have said, hey, can I call you dad? And I'm like, shit, two of these kids, I didn't even date their mama. They just hung around us. And I was like, well, as long as if you call me dad, I'm gonna get to see the report cards. If you do something wrong, I'm gonna beat that ass. And they was like, okay. Wow. And I tell people that's probably one of the most proudest achievements in my life is random kids wanting to call me dad, because we as Black people don't look for dads. We as men definitely don't look for dads. Theo was lucky. He got a bonus dad. My mom's sperm donor. When I got ready to go to the military, she was trying to do the right thing because that's who she was. She was like, well, we got to get him to sign the paper. And he came over and he was like, yeah, you want to join the military? I was like, yeah. He's like, what you gonna do if I don't sign the paper? I was like, I'm gonna push your ass off the balcony, and then I won't have to worry about it. Like, I'm going to the military whether you sign this paper or not. The only thing you can dilute, you can stop me from going to 17. You can't stop me from getting in. And he was like, and I called him by his name. He's like, well, when you gonna call me daddy? That's when I pushed over the balcony. But he's like, and you know, but we had a contentious relationship, and he kept trying to blame it on her. And I was like, no, dude, I saw you when you hit her. I've been waiting to be big enough to whoop your ass. So when I get out of the basic training, I'm coming for you. I said, because I saw you hit her. I ain't liked you since that day. There's nothing that she can tell me. She tried to force us to have a relationship. The first time I ran away from home, she took me over his house and left me. Her and her boyfriend drove off. I got home 10 minutes behind her because I knew how to ride the bus. So as soon as they left, he went to the restroom. I shot out the door, caught a bus, and went home. So you should have never taught me how to be independent. And I was like, Mom, and you know, that was our first real hard. I was like, Mom, what's wrong? She's like, what? You know, I'm sitting there crying like a baby. I'm like, you don't love me? She's like, why you say that? Why would you take me over there and leave me? I ain't did nothing. I just want you to want to know him. I know his name. I know you made a mistake. I'm good. I'm good. I said, you take me over again, I'm not coming back home no more. Because I've been fortunate. I've been around women who who at least left the door open for the father to do his thing.
Sure.
And he didn't want to do it.
The good moms always do that. The good moms always leave the door open, and then the dads don't walk through it. And the bad moms, but that motherfucker shut.
but they get mad when another man want to walk through it. Because see, I was gonna adopt one, but you know, the dad got to sign off on it. It's like, you know, it don't. I said to me, it ain't that serious. I'm gonna take care of y'all. Period. It don't matter what he do. If he want to hold on to that title, because I understood what my biological father did. He came to my graduation. I don't know how he found out, but he wanted to sit there and all of a sudden, you know, beat his chest. Because, dude, I don't even know you like that. Come on, can we take a picture? You can take a picture with anybody you want to, but me. Because what you're not gonna do is put your arm around me and act like you was here for any of this shit. Oh, you just gonna be disrespectful. I'm a whole lot bigger now. I ain't that 7-year-old boy that watch you hit his mom. I like to fight now, and I will fight you. I ain't got no respect for you. So
that's a good segue to what I want to say. Because
see, I told y'all Mo is a good dude. He ain't nothing like me. He's such a good dude.
No. You ain't gonna say that after I do this. But no, it's a good segue because I wanted to add this. You know, I like both of y'all philosophy on how you deal with, I'll say, formed families. That's what I call families, you know, because you know, I feel like you don't have to be born into a family in order for that to be your family. That's my own personal philosophy. And I'm gonna tell you why I feel that way. I'm gonna read you guys a passage from my autobiography. This is what happened. This is why I think this way, right? Why the philosophy I just said, why I believe in that. Having no feelings of sadness when I saw my father in the casket only made me realize that we never formed a bond at all. It felt like I was at a stranger's wake. I had no connection with the person in front of the room lying in the coffin. I accepted this and decided that I would not stay for the burial. I made one last trip to the casket to say goodbye, then I went home. I realized I only attended the wake out of respect for the person who gave me life. That's it. We ain't had no relationship. So that's why I don't put stake in unless the relationship is cultivated, unless the relationship is meaningful and you providing guidance and the child is getting, you know, something from the relationship. Unless that's happening, you know, you are that person. If that's happening, you are that person's parent, as far as I'm concerned. Dad, call you whatever. You don't even forget the step. Take the step off.
Yeah.
All that stuff. That's dad right there. And this is why what I just read you is why my own father could have gave two. I ain't gonna say it because this DVP program, I want him getting kicked off.
I'm already getting kicked off. I ain't got no white boys on the show. You might as well go on and say it.
2 fucks about my son. So that's how I feel about it.
So I agree. I agree with what y'all are saying. I think, and I need to clarify that. Let me clarify my position on it. In my situation, right? Like all of my kids got the same last name. There is no. I tell my 2 oldest all the time, your mama pushed you out, but y'all mine. Who I know you got other siblings, but who what's your last name? Okay. I am paying the cost to be the boss, regardless of what your mama doing. Like if your mama loves if she worships the ground I walk on, I'm still paying the cost. If she's making it hell for me to walk on this path, I'm still paying the cost. So from that position, being vested, being day one, and going through the obstacles, and actually the more hoops you jump through to do it, the more territorial you actually become. And so for me in my position, it would be the only way that that my kids would know a man better than me enough to call him father is that I died, or their mom took them. It wouldn't be because I walked away. And I think that there are a lot of I don't diminish or dismiss anybody's life or anything like that, because everybody has their own journey, right? But I also know that the things that are the narratives that are spun about me are going to require a kind of conversation with my children when they get older. They like that, and what my biological father did that I will always respect him for was the first time we reconnected when I was about 13 years old. I asked him every single question that I ever had about how he treated my mom and just all of those things. And that man never told one lie. If it made him look bad, it just made him look bad. And if it, you know, if what he said kind of aligned with what she said, there was an instant level of like, okay, I can forgive you for that, because at least you owned up to it. I think a lot of men, they don't own up to the outcome, right? Like they don't own up to the fact that, and there's a Andre 3000 line where he says, you know, sometimes doing the best that you could as a dad ends up being the worst that you could. As much as if I passed away today, all of my kids are very well taken care of until they're about 50 years old. I'm here. I'm present in this life and afterlife with them. But there are some strategic things that I did that I owe them apologies for when they are old enough to understand it. Right now, there are also some lies that have been told, and I have been documenting everything so that when the lie gets put in my face, I will gladly show them the counter to that. Right. But I say that to say, you have to be confident in the fact that you have put forth the best effort that you could have possibly put forth, so that when you have to be able to allow your kids to interrogate your life, because they are you. Why wouldn't they be able to? Why shouldn't they be able to say, Dad, what happened 3 times? Like, okay, right. It's 3 times. Like, what happened? Right.
I'm in that bright light.
Right. I am prepared for those conversations, and not to the, I don't have a prepared speech or response to it, but they wouldn't be asking me anything I haven't asked myself. They wouldn't make a judgment of me that I haven't made of myself. The same way I judged my biological father. I judged my biological father and ended up doing the same thing he did. But I was old. Like, I wasn't 17 having my first kid. I was 28 and still replicated almost the same thing. I did some things differently, you know, in consideration of that.
He had 2 more years to go, Mo. He had 2 more years to go.
But I'm just saying there was I get it.
Let me say this. Oh, sorry. Let me say.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I like that because you held yourself accountable, and now they won't have to put the puzzle pieces together, because I had to put. I still got puzzle pieces missing. I still got them missing. You know, I don't know about you, DVP, but I got gaps, man. My gaps, Grand Canyon size gaps, and so what you're doing is very admirable, and it's gonna keep your kids at peace, man. Because I even went to I got a brother who's 6 years older than me. I went to him. I said, hey, man, what the hell was going on over here? He said, man, all I could do is kind of guess, and that you know, that in itself it helps some, but you probably know how I feel with the fact that I don't have a real answer. And so what you're doing is gonna make sure they don't have to go through that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And you know, and it's crazy because I'm gonna say this out of arrogance. You got 3 smart black men right here, but and I can tell you that when and this is important, when the biological dad is not there and it's not because of death, there's a piece of us that we hold ourselves guilty for that we ain't got shit to do with, but it's a missing piece that, you know, time may help put some dirt in it, but it ain't never filled because we live with that for so long. And like I can say, my sperm donor, the best thing about him, the only good thing about him other than dying, was that he taught me what I didn't want to be. Which is why I hold on dear and tightly to women who got single mothers, because I saw what my mom did. I saw how she tried to bridge that gap because she didn't want me not to like him, because we never had a long conversation about it. But my dislike was all mine. All mine. Because I wouldn't put his name on shit. She's like, why you don't put his name down? I'm like, because I'm not gonna put it. You can put whatever you want to. Because when she tried to talk, first thing I say, that was your ex-husband. Anytime you making me something to me, we're gonna stop the conversation. Because I'm not gonna have a conversation about this dude having a title in my world other than your ex-husband. And as I got older, I realized that he took something from me. And I was upset about that because I didn't, you young, you don't know what's going on. But as you get older, you realize, well, when I was slacking here or when I was doing dumb shit, it's because I was angry. But I didn't know I was angry because nobody taught me how to deal with my emotions. Because nobody knows what makes you emotional. The same things that I may cry about, y'all may not cry about. So how can I tell my son what to do in this when our emotions are on different levels? He's sensitive. And that's why I hate when it comes to, a man can teach a man how to deal with these emotions. No, he can't. Because we're not all the same. Some of us want to fight, some of us want to negotiate, some of us want to run. We're not all the same. But having that missing piece, it leaves a bigger dent in us. And Mo had said something, I don't know, a couple of years ago. If I don't get black men, and especially black men, because that's what I care about right now. If I don't get us to understand that presence, PRENCE, is way more important than presence, PRESENTS, because a lot of our peers want to show up 2, 3, 4 times a year with $75 and a gift and think that means something. Well, we'd rather see your broke ass every other week or every week and spend some time with us let's go to the park and just play on the swing or toss some football. It don't cost money. But and it's crazy. Most of the good mothers, if you ask them, they would rather
that's all they want.
They would rather that the dad come get the child just so they can get a break.
Right.
And when I try to get men to understand this, dude, I guarantee you, and I had one on show, if you were an active role, that visitation shit wouldn't mean nothing. If you call and say, hey, can I get my son? Can I get my daughter? They're going to be more happy. Because guess what? Now they can sleep or go out and do whatever they want to do because they ain't got to worry about shit. That's a relaxation for them. And they'll appreciate you more and give you weight. With my son, I never had to plan. If something hit me, it's like, hey, can I come get him? She's like, yeah. She said, do I need to pack some clothes? Do I need to? You ain't gotta do nothing. I got money. I'm gonna get him a toothbrush, clothes. And she's like, when you gonna bring it back? Today, tomorrow, next week? How long you keeping? That was all she asked me. How long you keeping it?
Right.
And I was absent for the first few years because we had a spat about. I didn't believe he was my child, but once we got past that and I accepted him as mine, she didn't give me no beef about nothing. And this is what I could tell people. She always trying to get money. Well, I was the baby daddy that had money. She ain't never sweat me. I had to fight with her about taking money because all she wanted me to do was to be there. And when I got mine, I started getting his brothers and sisters because I didn't want them to feel like, because they dad was poor, whatever, that I ain't gonna send him back with good shit and they ain't got nothing.
Right.
So
okay,
I'm getting everybody. And if we all want to stay out, she still ain't saying that. So, fellas, we need to start having town halls and just talk about how to bridge the gap so that we stop having testosterone battles. If it's good for the kids, it's good for the community. If it's good for the community, it's good for us. And we can go forward so that we regain some of the old school stuff and incorporate it with the new school stuff. But I'm gonna say this in closing. Fellas, if you have a child, unless you got a bitter baby mama, understand this, they would rather you come and spend time. They know if you got money or not. So they ain't trying to beat these broke ass, but come get the child some time so she can rest. Let her go out. Don't worry about who she giving some to. As long as she's in a good mindset, guess what? That means your kids are getting the best treatment available. If she's tired and always grumpy because you won't do shit, that goes to your child. And you are the direct cause of that because you don't want to give her a break ever. And that's the mentality we got to stop. And that's why we have to have more meetings with men being grown ass men, because we love to make the statement. Every dude's, I'm a grown ass man. I handle my business. Well, when was the last time you see, oh, the judge don't let me see him? And like I said, I ain't saying it don't happen with some, because I know it does. But have a conversation. Say, hey, what do I have to do to see my child more? Some gonna work with you. It's gonna be 5% that ain't. They just don't like you and they don't trust you. But go ahead and call the white man and you know, see what you can do. So it's 8 o'clock. I don't want to get in trouble since I'm finna already get kicked off, because these two done got me in way too much trouble. And Mama, blame you for something before we leave. Because see, me and Theo had a show. I don't know what happened, but it was some cyber shit. We both ended up eating onions at the same time, and your ass wasn't nowhere around to change the subject. So me and Theo still mad at you about that. I just want you to know that. You know, I done deleted the show from the bank, so that shit on. But so fellas, before I leave, y'all got the party shots y'all want to get. Theo, when your next show? Since I ain't been invited yet, but I ain't sensitive.
No, I've been having technical issues, man. I uploaded it to Riverside.fm. I gotta start from scratch. So I'm starting from square one. So
that mean he used the Metro, y'all. So what you got, Mo?
Oh yeah, man. You know, since we was talking about like kids and cultivation, and you know, so before you could even get to that though, you have to either, so if you realize you have an issue you got to deal with, you got to reinvent yourself and make sure you prepare for the job. You can't just, because it's not going to be easy. You're not going to be able to just go in there and solve problems and give your kid or your child time if you yourself are not prepared and well suited to do that. So take care of yourself first, and then you can take care of everybody else.
And on that note, we're going to get up out of here. I ain't got my drink because Mo started in on me too early. So y'all know what it is, right? Until next week, let's see. I'm going to be here next week, and then I'm going to California for 2 weeks after that, fellas. So did y'all have a show last week?
We did not.
I messed up. So Roy asked me, I was like, Roy, you know, at 6 o'clock, I was still working, so I didn't even have time to look, because where I'm at, they don't even get reception. But we're gonna make sure that we don't have gaps again. So, but until next week, y'all know what it is, right? Peace, popcorn, and chicken grease, and we out.
Easy.